We don't have to roll call, right? We got enough people? We got quorum? Good. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the September meeting?
I so move.
There's a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the sole source piggyback requests, which there are 3 of them on the agenda? Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second, Susan. Any discussion on them? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Steve, you got sales tax going down a little bit, huh?
Well, my wife is doing everything she can to help this stay propped up, but it's just not enough. So, yeah, we're down to trending at a 1.5 right now. And so I guess we'll see what the rest of the year brings here.
Do you want to give the feds advice? Should they could keep raising the interest rates, or?
I don't know.
2023 budget adjustments, Susan Thompson.
Yes, so this ties.
Put the mic on, please.
Sorry, I thought I had it on. Okay, rookie mistake. So this is in correlation with the projections that we prepared and presented at the commission meeting last week. As part of that preparation for those projections, we did a pretty deep dive into our expected revenues along with our expected expenses. So this 2-page document is our requests for adjustments on both the revenue and the expense. The net is just a slight, it'll end up a slight positive, but basically the changes in the revenues will offset the changes in the expenses. We have 2.1 million of revenues and 1.9 adjustment of expenses. Does anybody have any questions on any of them? They're all listed out pretty specifically.
So this is standard. We're going to see this every quarter. Is you're going to try to do this, or how? How are you
Yes.
gonna do that?
I know this has been done in the past. I just don't know that it's always been brought to this committee. So as part of our processes, we'll be doing the projection updates quarterly, and then we'll bring along forward budget adjustments on a quarterly basis.
Any questions by the commission or committee? Very good. A budget adjustment for a harms reduction advocate and team leading position, Desi Fleming to address.
Yeah, so this first one is just, so we had extra pay for harm reduction advocates that we had from January to July 9th of 23, just knowing that that's a really challenging environment for people to work in. We had grant funds to do that. That has since gone away. Since that's gone away, we've noticed a significant decrease in our applicant pool that we are getting. And so in the 2024 budget, we did get approved a market adjustment for harm reduction in advocates and team leads. But this is, would help until that time that we would use grant funds to give them kind of a bump again so that we can get the applicants and the workforce that we need. They aren't quite sure what this is going to look like yet. We were just going to start the market adjustment early and then pay it with grant funds, but we might have to do more of like a bonus type structure in Kronos. They're figuring out all what needs to happen, and it's a little more complex because Melissa has to track it all for our grant. And so, but it would be this dollar amount taken from our grant to support that. So that's what we're looking for.
So you've got the grant to cover it. It's just HR has to figure out the
The
form.
method,
to do it.
yes.
And that would help us retain the people we have as well?
That, yes, will help retain and will help recruit as well. Because it would be for all, harm reduction advocates and leads across all the programming.
Any questions from the committee? Say you got a mobile one and then the state might fund a secondary mobile one. What would hold us from getting the second mobile one?
Staff and money.
But I mean, if the state.
If we
would
had
be-
money, staff
It'd be hiring
and
the
a
staff
vehicle.
and a vehicle? Does the state pay for all of that?
The state pays for the staff right now. But we've had grants too that have covered the vehicles.
You have, okay. Is there a motion to approve the present budget adjustment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Budget adjustment for the PT physician nurse at Cass County Jail. You're up again,
Yep,
Desi.
so we have, currently have a 28-hour RN position at the Cass County Jail, and it has stayed part-time because the individual in it wanted those part-time hours. 2 years ago, she was supposed to retire and didn't, but we at that time got approval from Cass County to make it a full-time position. She's now retiring the end of October, and so we just want, again, that position to go to full-time due to obviously the workload at the jail. This is 100% funded by the Cass County budget.
So you need that approved by us? Is there a motion?
Move to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Budget adjustment support city winter warming initiative. Desi Fleming to explain as well.
Yep, so this is some grant funds that we have to support the city initiative for the winter warming. So it covers a person that will be a current team lead that we have right now that is willing to do some out-of-grade responsibilities in order to oversee that winter warming initiative coordination. We also are looking at providing some staffing that we would, contribution from our grant funds that we would put towards staffing for that initiative as well. And then we said that we could have the deck open for those transition hours of 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and we would staff that in order to help coordinate and trying to get people to other shelters and to figure out, who would actually need to stay at that warming initiative part. So all of those are covered by our workforce grant funds, and it's our contribution to help the city to fund this initiative.
Any questions of Desi?
Mr. Chairman, I have some questions. So first of all, we were told that the DEC was going to be closed at 5 to save money, if you remember that. And so now, starting November 1st, it's going to be open 24 hours a day, correct? That's
They're,
correct.
Two different.
And so my other, no,
Excuse me, Dave, she's trying to respond to you. There's two different.
So they're
initiatives.
not the same thing. So the nighttime is the winter warming initiative, which is the city initiative. And so that's going to be the top floor with the lights on and people sitting in airport type sheltering. The 5 to 8 is going to be to supporting that initiative. It's not normal deck operations. It's going to help people get to other places so that we know who has to be at the nighttime warming shelter.
so what,
Not-
but
this
once
is-
again, the DEC, the building is going to be open 24 hours a day, correct?
It's your city building. It's not a Fargo Cass function.
Okay, thank you. Then the other question I have is, can you be intoxicated and then be at the DEC?
You have to be able to participate and be able to function and not be a danger to others.
That's not, so my question, then the answer is you can be intoxicated. So what we're doing is we are enabling. You can still drink or use drugs and come to the DEC, and now you'll be able to stay there as well. So to me, I'm not an expert in all this, but enabling, the first thing you have to do is stop using if you want to change. And so we're not even doing that. And so we're using public tax money for enabling. So, and then my other question was, do we check IDs to make sure they are not, have warrants out?
That would be, we partner with PD on many things. We don't have a situation in the front door when someone comes in if we would know what warrants are.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. No more questions.
But Desi, if people are engaged in the engagement center, oftentimes if they have addiction problems, our staff will reach out, suggest that, or work with them.
Every interaction that we have with people is about meeting people where they're at. You would be hard pressed to find someone that could actually just stop using a substance who is addicted to a substance. So
But we have
repeated
psychiatric
efforts.
services over there
Yeah.
now. We have medical services over there now, right?
While Homeless Health Services has always been there, we also are going to have Sanford residents are starting with their psych residents. We have lots of other services over there. It's all about harm reduction and figuring out how can someone do something safer? How do we get them to the point of either changing their behaviors or changing what they're using? And that does not happen for most people doing that cold turkey method.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Or a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I-
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Desi. Ron Gronenberg, 2023-24 grant requests. Morning.
Two requests in one here. One is for IIJA grants for 2023, a request to accept. And and a budget adjustment to get, instead of spending it out of my account, to fill that bucket back in. This year's grants are 90% federal and 10% state and local. And then 2024 grants, that's my request to apply. And I was rereading my motion in there, and I would like to add that it's a request for a budget adjustment in 2024 also. Otherwise, I'll come back to you with another request next meeting or one of the future meetings. So if you could include that in the motion, that would be great. And that's for substantially more money. The request periods are pretty narrow in these because the committee that's getting the direction from CISA, the federal government, on how to apply the grants is not getting very good information very quickly. It's not timely delivered to them because I think federal government's still kind of deciding exact direction and things like that. These are all cyber-based grants, though.
So let's do 23 first, because
Okay.
that's simpler.
Yep.
And Susan, the 23, we have budgeted money for this, or?
That's what we're doing, is we're adding the budgeted money, correct? Yes, we're putting the money into the budget, we're adjusting it.
What about the local share?
Pardon me,
Oh, the
Steve?
local shares in there,
The local share is 14,611.
And is that budgeted?
yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'd move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Motion carries. Now let's go to the 24. What would we have to do in the 24 budget to adjust? Because that's 100,000, isn't it?
That's 104,000. So the way the application will work is we'll apply for the 671,000, and then the committee will review all the statewide requests and authorize some. So the maximum that we will pay is 104,000. But it could be substantially less than that if we don't get authorized on that level, so.
So will you bring back whatever the actual is then once you,
When I request, I'll do a grant request to accept,
okay.
like the 2023, and then that's when I will request to accept it. I understand they received a large number of requests, so I don't know if it'll get funded or not, but
Okay.
good chance we'll get funded on a substantial portion of it.
In cybersecurity, does the state block a lot of the stuff that would go after the city of Fargo, or do you block it?
Yes and yes. So the state blocks a substantial amount, and we block what is a surprising amount that gets through the state.
And would you say that's 100 a year, or would it be a higher number?
Hundreds, thousands.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it would be.
so did I really win that thing and it comes on the email? Did I really win that?
Yeah,
Did I dare open it, or?
good one to delete. So,
Ron, in this case, is the 104 part of the 2024 budget? that you could reallocate, or do you actually need that added to your budget? If in fact you get that full grant, you'd have to come back and ask for that full match, correct?
I would prefer to ask for the full match because the budgets were
Other things.
pretty lean already, so.
Yes, I would agree.
So you're okay with that motion?
Yes. And Ron will come back with the final amount and ask for that specific budget
I can,
adjustment.
yes.
Okay.
Do you want us to act on it today?
Yeah, we need to approve that he can go ahead and request the grant, correct?
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Request for front load position 2023. Ron, you're on again.
Yes, so we have a temporary person helping at the front desk. Tiffany's been with us for maybe a year and a half or so, I guess. I don't remember exactly. But she's taken another position. This position has been authorized for next year's budget. But I don't want to wait till January 1st to fill it. I'd rather fill it more sooner if we can find the right candidates. Gives that candidate the advantage of getting on PERS and stuff too, but really it's try to not have an opening for 2 months or to try and hire somebody for temporary work with the promise of full-time later and stuff.
Do you have salary savings in your current budget to support it?
I can fund that, yes.
Okay, I'd move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mike, you're on. Lease agreement with Public Perry.
Thank you, committee members. This was emailed out to you under separate cover from Tanner. Thanks, Tanner, for that. I've been working with the city attorney's office on a draft lease agreement with Prairie Public Broadcasting. Some of you will recall that the Prairie Public Group recently had a fire in their studio space, and it's displaced a number of their staff. They're currently operating both remotely, people working from home, but then also in another location. They've made inquiry about the vacant former Human Resources office on the Skyway level of the Civic Center. And so what we are proposing is a kind of a concise term, a 6-month term with 2 3-month options to allow Prairie Public to extend that term, $8 a square foot rent, and then a common area maintenance charge of $400 per month. That's a little bit different than the way we've operated there in years past with MetroCog, the Diversion Authority, and other entities like the DCP that have operated within that space. We've done a monthly CAM charge. We thought it'd just be easier to do a charge this way on a fixed dollar amount rather than have it tied to the square footage. No parking will be provided, no subletting of this space. It's a pretty straightforward lease agreement. We're just trying to help out Prairie Public as they recover from their fire. They do intend to fully return to their office that they're in or had been in after they get their contractors through and get put back together. So this would be just a short-term basis to allow them to operate. So I should add too that we're not going to provide any technology assistance. They bring their own internet, they bring their own telephones, et cetera. So just truly a place to set up shop for the next 6 months and up to a year. So happy to answer any other questions about that.
Any questions of Mike? Is there a motion?
That's a move.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any other business for this committee? We are adjourned. Thank you.